extended producer responsibility as a policy approach to manage the nation's electronic waste. Extended producer responsibility, or EPR, has been used synonymously with product stewardship or consumer product take-back, and it's defined by the Organization of Economic and Cooperation Development as an environmental policy approach where the producer's responsibility is extended to the producer's responsibility, physical and or financial, extended to the post-consumer stage of a product's life cycle. In the context of e-waste, two main objectives EPR aims to achieve is to shift the end-of-life management of e-waste from municipalities to producers. The second objective is to create an economic incentive for producers to incorporate environmental design efforts into their products. And EPR can be seen as a way to internalize the environmental externalities to the cost of the product itself. E-waste in the United States have been a growing problem over the past several decades, and a policy that needs to address that problem. Over the past several decades, electronic waste has been increasing. Based on the figure right here on the left, from 2000 to 2007, there's an obvious increase in electronic waste in the environment, and that's been landfilled or incinerated. While recycling efforts have been increasing over the years, highlighted in blue, the rate at which e-waste is entering landfills is growing at a faster rate. Unfortunately, in the United States, there's no national policy to address electronic waste. It's been conducted on a state-by-state basis, where individual states have their own policies. And with that, there's lack of uniformity, where there's a patchwork of different standards and policies. With the additions of various volunteer efforts among industry, that further kind of creates a more fragmented way of managing e-waste. And with that, two research questions that I hope to answer tonight is what are some of the influencing EPR instruments introduced in Europe and the United States, and how can these policy instruments be used to implement a national policy? Two broad aspects that I'll be covering in EPR policy focuses on administrative instruments, which talks about how producers act in terms of managing e-waste. Are they involved in a collective effort or the individual efforts? And also, what types of collection systems are in place? Are they just drop-off points? Are they managed by municipalities? Or are they managed by producers themselves? And also, what type of electronic waste are collected? Are they just focused on just monitors, or are they anything that can be plugged in is covered? And the second aspect I'll be covering is economic instruments, just basically how these programs are funded. Are they funded through advanced recycling fees, or are these internalized in the cost of the product? And how these fees are distributed among producers, are they distributed market share or return share? And so, four policies I'll be discussing is Switzerland, Germany, Maine, and New York. I want to focus on Europe in particular, and we'll also discuss Maine and New York, but Europe was the first to introduce EPR into a national policy, and they achieved one of the highest collection rates in the world, with Switzerland at 15 kilograms per capita in 2009, followed by Germany at 7.8, and Maine at 1.9, and New York currently doesn't have any data because they just recently implemented a state policy. Also, Europe has a very developed collection and recycling system, and their policies tend to be a lot stricter. And so starting with Switzerland's ordinance on return, take back, and disposal of electronic waste sets the foundation for producers to legally take back electronic waste free of charge for consumers. However, consumers are required to pay an advanced recycling fee at the point of sale of a covered electronic. That fee is then distributed back to the manufacturer or the producer in order to fund e-waste collection and program efforts. Producers pay a fee. In the Swiss system, producers act collectively, where a fee is paid to a third-party organization, referred to as a producer responsibility organization. And these, or pros, producer responsibility organization, referred to as pros, they are the backbone of the entire system, where they establish what level of fees should consumers be paid, or consumers have to pay. They distribute licenses and conduct audits among recycling facilities. In addition, pros also provide all collection points for the entire country. Several advantages of their system is that they have one of the highest collection rates in the world at 15 kilograms per capita compared to Europe average of 3 kilograms per capita. This has mainly been attributed to their very developed collection systems. Swiss law requires retailers to take back all waste from consumers, which haven't really been seen in other policies. Several disadvantages of this system is that since producers act collectively, they don't receive the necessary feedback in order to make design changes in the future. The Swiss system also doesn't include a reuse system, so retailers, producers, and producer-sponsored organizations are not allowed to include some sort of reuse system. And since the entire system is financed through an advanced recycling fee, this fee tends to be significantly higher than any other policy in place. Germany's Electronic Equipment Act is based on a shared effort among municipalities and producers, where in a collective effort, on the right side of the figure, municipalities provide all forms of collection and finance those collection points. However, producers are required to finance the consolidation and dismantling recycling fee through a third-party organization. Germany doesn't implement any advanced recycling fee. All fees are internalized into the cost of the product itself. However, producers all are allowed to participate individually. And in their system, producers have to finance and provide all physical end-of-life responsibilities. Advantages to this system is that producers have the option to act individually. This allows them to create environmental design changes necessary to minimize end-of-life costs. They also include a provision for reuse where recycling facilities are required to include a reuse system separate from recycling. And there's also a municipal exclusion option where, since municipalities finance all collection points, they can recover those costs through generated revenue by excluding a specific category of electronic waste that's profitable. Germany is also part of the Restrictions of Hazardous Substance Directive. This is a directive that prohibits manufacturers in Germany from using the 6 top hazardous substances in manufacturing of products. And one major disadvantage is that collections are just based on municipalities. Retailers by law are not required to collect. Maine's electronic waste recycling law is very similar to how Germany operates. Consumers are allowed to bring all electronics to municipalities where they provide collection points and finance collection, whereas producers pay a third-party consolidator or recycler to manage all that. Several advantages of the system is that it addresses orphanry, and since EPR requires producers to take back their own waste, other producers' waste are not